Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our class today on using InfoSparks and FastStats to become the market expert. We'll just wait here just for a quick minute to see if we have anybody else, because I know it's exactly at 11:30. So hopefully we'll see a few other people, and just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Good morning, Don. Am I coming through loud and clear for you? Yes, excellent. Hope you're doing well, and hope everybody's being safe and enjoying themselves today. I think we're going to have a little fun today, especially going over statistical information, how to use these reports, and of course, hopefully encourage you guys to start using statistical reports to become the market expert. And that's something that I think we all really I want to encourage every agent to start utilizing, especially because I'm just going to give you some different ideas of how to utilize this information, how to access the information, things like that. Okay, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We have a quick presentation to go over, which should take about maybe 10-15 minutes tops, depending on question and answer. And then I'm going to show you how to actually access the information and how to actually utilize the information for all your various different platforms. Um, Also, we are recording today's webinar. So if I do go over something too quickly, please feel free to uh, write up a question. I'll be more than happy to repeat it and answer it. And again, if we happen to go over it a little too quickly, you will get a copy of today's webinar sent to you so you can watch it over and over again as a nice little refresher. So hopefully I won't be going too fast. I am drinking my water to keep the vocal cords well oiled, and we can go on. All right. So with that said, let's get started. I want to welcome again everybody today to using the InfoSparks and FastStats to become the market expert, basically statistical information. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Anthony. I work at Orange County Realtors. I've been an employee of the Orange County Realtors since 2002, so almost 18 years. Started off in the MLS department, so I know guaranteed I'll speak to everybody regarding rules, regulations, violations, things like that. What I'm also involved with is our outreach program. Now, our outreach program is designed to give you training on all your various tools and products, not only with the association or at the association, but also at your offices. So feel free to ask your broker if they have outreach training from the board. Just to let you know, we teach classes on MLS, how to run searches, how to modify listings, creating CMAs, all those fun tools. I also train on zip forms, how to put together your transactions electronically, how to digitally sign them, all that other fun stuff. And of course, I love training on technology. Now, I like to think of myself as a pretty geeky guy when it comes to technology and real estate, but I will tell you there are far more people out there that are way geekier than I am. So I know just enough to get myself into trouble with technology, and that's where I come in for you. My whole job is to help you merge some of the technology and tools that are out there in your real estate business to help improve you as a real estate agent, especially today's market where technology is super huge all of a sudden, where you're kind of slapped in the face with it, right? You know, because of COVID, and I've been really impressed with how a lot of agents have adapted the technologies that we've been training on for close to 10 years in their real estate career, right? From online meetings to digitally signing documents to virtual showings to videos, everything like that. So nowadays, everything that we've been teaching you guys have really come to the forefront in your business. So without this technology, you're going to find yourself really far behind because of these limitations that have been put onto everybody when it comes to our face-to-face, okay? So what we're going to go over today real quickly is InfoSparks and FastStats statistical information given to you. Now, real quickly, what is this tool? InfoSparks and FastStats is an OC Realtors member benefit that provides you, the agent, with MLS statistical data that you can use to show market realities. Okay, this is 100% pure MLS data that agents can use to display and talk about. Okay, there's no other mitigating circumstances or factors keyed into these stats. This is information pulled directly out of the MLS. So this is why MLS is really strict about accuracy of information. Now, real quickly, just so you know, this information is updated every month, but it's information that you're going to see for the prior month. So as an example, the information that we're seeing today in July is all based on numbers in June. When it comes to August, you're then going to see July numbers, so on and so forth. So what we can do with this information is several things, right? So we can elevate our online presence. We're going to increase your credibility as a real estate agent and professional because you're going to be able to show these market realities. Hopefully, this will also generate lots of better client interactions between you and your client, especially those clients that have certain expectations in the business. You can at least have a better client interaction. You're also going to be able to manage your expectations with the market realities because I know how some clients can be really off kilter, like, oh, well, geez, everybody's stay at home, so it must be a buyer's market right now. And we're going to be able to talk about things like that, right? When in actuality, it might be a seller's market. Or, the news says, oh, home prices must be falling out, things are falling down. People are going to translate that into real estate, but we're going to show how real estate's a little bit different, right? And this will actually remove everybody's anxiety and uncertainty because you're going to be able to show those market realities, okay? Now, real quickly, elevating your online presence, we're going to encourage you to distribute this information. Distribute it out there to the masses. Don't be afraid of it, okay? Put it on your social media. Do a video about it. Put it on your website. Talk about it. Because how else does somebody know what you know? You're going to look at these numbers, and it sounds scary, but trust me, it's not scary at all. If you start to look at the numbers, you're going to see trends. And you, based on your experience being a seasoned agent, and I don't care if you've only been in the business a month or 38,000 years, you have experiences so far in working with the real estate community that you should be able to interpret these numbers. Okay? Don't let anybody else interpret them. You're going to look at this and you're going to pick out certain things on the way you're going to be able to talk to people. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, you can apply your personal branding to these stats, okay? You can put them on the PDF files. You can apply your branding. That way, it just brands you with the information. And again, it's all about distributing it out. You're going to promote property stats of the area. Now, with FastStats, you have the local market update report, which is a nice, lovely one-page report that you could print out, or you can use the monthly indicator report, which is a huge 15-page document that you can dissect and talk about, or you can just go with the individual charts and graphs from InfoSparks. Now, we also encourage you to use digital and print versions. So you can put the reports on your website, social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, do a YouTube video, what have you, or eventually when you're out there in the field and you can go and door knock on people's houses or hold open houses, this is great information to hand out, right? I've known a few agents or one broker office out in Irvine that has encouraged their agents to always take a stack of the reports in the back of their car because you never know when you're on the street and somebody asks you when they see that you're a real estate agent about the market. Now, hopefully everybody attending today doesn't hide the fact that you're a real estate agent, right? Do people know that you're a real estate agent or that you're in real estate? Do you have something maybe on the side of your car that indicates that you're a realtor? Or do you wear your realtor badge, or your little name tag on your clothing when you're going to the grocery store, right? We should be wearing that type of stuff loud and proud because how else do we expect to get business if people don't know that we're in the business, right? If we start to project that we are real estate agents out in the field, people are going to come to us. People are going to ask us what we know. And InfoSparks and statistical information is going to be a way of knowing how well you're tied in with the market, because you're going to know this. All right. Now, increasing your credibility, that's the huge part, right? You got to position yourself as the market expert, okay? And including stats in your marketing materials, whether it's online or print, is vital, okay? By using this empirical evidence, you'll be able to complement your personal experience with when you're dealing with your clients or potential clients that you're interviewing or being interviewed by, okay? Now, we give you the information, you interpret it however you see fit. I know everybody in this webinar is going to look at information just a bit differently. Some of you will see positive information in the market. Others of you will see negative in the market. Others of you will look at the information to try to predict what the market may do. Each and every one of you can look at these numbers differently, because those are the types of clients that you are going to be attracting, okay? So however you want to interpret, that's what you need to do. And you don't have to know all the stats. Just know maybe one or two of them, okay? Get familiar with those types of stats. All right. Now, another way of being able to increase your credibility to become the expert is that you're going to be able to answer all the popular questions. And I know, like Don, right, Don, you've probably been asked at least one or two of these, right? Exactly. At least one or two of them. So is it a buyer's market? Well, we can look at stats like the month supply of inventory. Or how do property types compare? Maybe you compare attached versus detached markets, because at least here in Orange County, the detached market is vastly different from the attached market, whether it's a condo or a single family. Are home prices going up or down? Well, that would be your median sales price. How long will it take to sell a house? That's probably going to be their days on market. How much of my asking prices am I going to get? Well, that's where the percentage of the either original list price or the list price is going to be received. And of course, when do you have the most options as a buyer, right? When do I have the most options at being a buyer in this market? Well, you're going to look at the inventory. So you can look at these various different stats to be able to answer these questions, okay? Now, expectations or managing expectations is going to be vital, right? Because you got to use the various different metrics like days on market, median price, percentage of original list price being received on a listing, or maybe even the inventory. You're going to be able to impress these clients at listing appointments or even buying apartment appointments with the market realities. Remember, these are not estimations. This is what is pulled directly out of the MLS. So what people are actually listing their homes for, how many people are actually listing their homes, what people are actually selling their homes for, and of course, how many days on market before they actually get into escrow, either as a pending sale or active under contract. Okay? This is way better than those estimations. Have you ever looked at any of those estimations on any of those websites? Okay? One of the major competitors, or one of the major websites that people seem to go to when it gets look for what's my home worth, their estimations are off between 20 to 30%. Now, that's 20 to 30% one direction. Remember, this is 20 to 30% plus, 20 to 30% minus. When you're looking at that, that could be 40 to 60% off in their estimation. So if that website says your home is worth $1 million plus or minus 20%, that could be a $400,000 gap. Now, I don't know about anybody in the room, but if your largest asset you wanted to sell, do you want to play with $400,000? No, no one. This is where you as the agent now needs to step in. Not only do you run your CMA, but you can look at the overall statistics of city, county, area, you know, all that, or even neighborhood in some cases, with what's actually going on. And you're going to get a lot more of an accurate estimation. Okay? Maybe probably between 1 to 5%. Maybe in some cases 10. But very few. But what we can do here is get people to rethink, and we stop in a way not necessarily becoming real estate agents of the buying and selling of property, but we become educators in our real estate industry, right? We got to move people from these website portals that really aren't tied into the market with the actual market realities. Even though they do get information from the MLS directly, it's the way that they're displaying it to come up with their own algorithmic estimations. But again, I think, saying your home's worth about $1 million plus or minus 20% is a huge gap. And that's too inaccurate for me. Okay. You're going to be able to provide the necessary education to empower your clients because you're going to give them information that's going to help them make a well-informed decision. Okay. And that's where really this face-to-face industry is important. Okay. We're not necessarily the stock market, right? Where we just give our money to some stockbroker out in New York and hope that they put us in a good investment, right? That will hopefully go up and not have so many downs. Here, you're a little bit more than that. It's not just making money in the business, it's actually buying and selling people's memories, right? You're going to try to find that perfect home for them. You're going to be able to help guide them in the good and bad markets, right? To help navigate to make well-informed decisions to either buy or sell their homes. Benefiting you in this all benefits you in several ways. One, it's going to help enhance your negotiating power, right? The more you're informed about your own market and you can talk about it, the better people will trust you to help negotiate for them. Okay, right? Even amongst other agents, it's kind of amazing that if you happen to know the numbers, you can actually probably have a better negotiating of a price on a property with the other agent because you know the inventory, you know the market, than other agents that aren't just tied to the market, right? They might have done their CMA, but for the most part, they don't know what the market's all about. And if they're not tied into the inventory or their local neighborhood information, and they don't know what's going on, they could be leaving a lot of money on the table for their client, right? So this is where you as the agent come in. And if you're talking about competing against another agent fighting for a listing, who's the seller going to go with? Somebody who actually knows the market and will get them top dollar, not necessarily, geez, I just want the bottom line of a flat fee commission that may take my property 7 to 10 months to sell. And now they miss out on all the opportunities because they weren't tied into the market. They didn't know what the good list price was, and they're usually the highest priced properties on the neighborhood, right? That's unrealistic. You guys are going to be more realistic about this. So this is going to help enhance your negotiating power. You're going to be able to use these numbers to connect with those analytical personalities. I know everybody here today at least has one client, maybe two, that just love seeing numbers. They love seeing charts and graphs, right? That's one giant way of being able to win them over is by showing them these charts and graphs and market realities. Now, this also helps you with your emotional decision makers too, right? Because you can come to them and say, the numbers don't lie. Here's what the numbers yield. This is how we need to take the emotion out of this and be really strategic in our way of thinking analytically. Okay, so we can bring them back down to a little bit of reality. Now, overall, we're going to reduce not only our clients' anxiety or potentials, but we're also going to reduce ours. Okay, I know everybody attending here at least takes on your client's emotions at least once or twice, right? Anybody ever have the client that calls you at midnight worrying about why their property is not getting offers or why their offers aren't being entertained and accepted, right? With statistical information, you're going to be able to help reduce their anxiety because, hey, this is what we have to fight for. This is how long we typically have to wait. We are priced well, right? Here we've got the good strategic plan. It's just a matter of waiting. Or in some cases, hey, your offers are way too low that we've talked about. You've got to up them up to be a little bit more competitive, to be even thought about being counter offered or even being accepted. If you do that, you all of a sudden get them to understand about the business, which now all of a sudden they stop calling you at midnight and you can get a full night's rest, right? So not only can we reduce our clients' anxiety, but this in turn reduces ours. Okay. All right, real quickly, anybody know the difference between a seller's market, buyer's market, and a balanced market? Anyone? Jason, Gary, Frida, Azita, anybody? Roland? And you can just type a quick little blurb. Oh, there we go. We got somebody. Inventory. Inventory is part of it. Yes, Don. Basically, supply and demand, right? Inventory is all part of that, yes, but it comes down to supply and demand, right? Days on market, that's part of it, Raymond. But days on market will affect or is affected by the type of market we're in, okay? So like as an example, a seller's market is when, very similar, Frida, yep, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So a seller's market is when you have very low inventory but a high demand, okay? So if you have very little inventory to choose from but a huge amount of demand for that inventory, all of a sudden prices start to go skyrocket, right? You start to see those big giant peaks, those spikes, right? Now, in a seller's market across the nation, this is less than 5 months worth of inventory in an MLS database. Now, funny enough, Orange County is a microclimate of real estate. And it's funny that here in Orange County, we kind of are the center of the real estate industry. Okay. Whatever starts to happen here, it starts to ripple out across the rest of the state to across the nation. Okay. Usually the rest of the nation outside of California is about 6 months behind our market. Okay. What's happening in our market tends to happen in theirs as a trickle. Okay. So here in Orange County, a seller's market is less than 3 months worth of inventory. Okay. Whereas across the nation, it's less than 5 months worth of inventory. Okay. Now, a buyer's market is when you have a lot of inventory, but not enough demand that takes that inventory off, which ultimately makes the prices steeply drop. Okay. When you have so much inventory, there's so much competition between sellers that all of it, but not enough buyers are taking off that inventory. Now, all of a sudden, prices stop going up, they start to drop. Okay. So, this is what in the seller's market causes the peaks, the buyer's market causes the deep valleys. Now, in the nation, a buyer's market is when you have more than 6 months worth of inventory in an MLS database being sold. Okay. Here in Orange County, however, this is more than 4 months worth of inventory. Okay. More than 4 months worth of inventory is a buyer's market in our MLS database for Orange County. Okay. Now, a balanced market is when you have enough inventory that meets enough of the demand where information or properties are coming on and off at a steady pace. Okay. Now, instead of the sharp peaks and the deep valleys, what you should have is a steady incline of price because properties are coming on and going off at a steady pace. Okay. Now, a balanced market in the United States is between 5 and 6 months of inventory. In Orange County, it's between 3 and 4. Okay. So remember that here in Orange County, seller's market is less than 3 months. Buyer's market is more than 4. A balanced market is between 3 and 4. Okay. Now, we all like to see a very well balanced market because affordability or home prices steadily increase. So you have a steady appreciation. No one wants to see, like the stock market, sharp rises and then deep valleys, right? Buy, nobody obviously wants to buy at the peak, but everybody wants to buy at the valley. But when you buy, you don't want to be stuck down at the valley, right? You want that steady increase over time. Okay. This is the long term. Okay, so 3, 4, between 3 and 4. Okay, now this is where we need to this is where we're going to be utilizing the stats to be able to determine very quickly if it's a buyer's or seller's market by looking at that month's supply of inventory. Now, we're going to support your recommendations, right? Basically, you want to compare the local to the regional numbers. So like the CMA versus the area stats versus your city stats versus the county, right? The CMA is always around the neighborhood. What this home is like compared to the other homes within the neighborhood of the same type. But then you live in this particular neighborhood, but how does the rest of the homes in your area compare? Then, of course, how does your home compare to the rest of the city? And of course, how does your home compare to the rest of the county? So you can dive into these deeper niche markets, right? You're going to be able to emphasize and display the stats that you want to target in your market. And again, you're going to be able to answer all the additional points of price forecasting, right? Because we feel that the trend is your friend, okay? And we're going to be able to go over that. Now, your personal marketing, we want you to support your business and yourself. So compare yourself to the market averages, right? So in maybe Don's case or Jason's case, Jason puts together a marketing plan that says, here's my numbers from the MLS. I can sell your home within less than 20 days, but the market averages of the days on market are 65. So if you list with me, I can sell your home, if priced right, faster than anyone else. So this is a way that you can utilize, or even at an appointment. Here are my stats during the listing presentation compared to the rest of the market. And you're just going to pull up your stuff just to see how you compare. Now, we want you to be innovative with the stats because, again, your interpretation of the stats is going to make you innovative of how you want to present them and what you want to talk about. We want you to produce your own content. Video is a great way, a social media post, this, that, and the other. Now, here's the big one. You got to know your stuff because it will show, right? Just don't hand out the stats or post stats unless you actually know what the stats are, because I guarantee you someone's going to ask you about it. And if someone asks you about it and your answer is, I'm not sure, that shoots your credibility in the foot. So if you're going to hand stuff out, you're going to display stuff, you're going to talk about stuff, know what it is that you're talking about. Because again, in being the market expert, we got to know what we're talking about. And if we don't know it, we shouldn't talk about it. We're going to be able to create an influential reputation because of our market expertise. Again, we're going to strengthen your negotiating power because you know the market. And of course, you're going to own your own segments in your own local areas. Okay. All right. Are there any questions on this so far? Seems pretty simple, right? All right. So how do we access the InfoSparks FastStats? Well, this is all going to come from the MLS. So we're going to log into CRMLS.org. We're going to log into the MLS dashboard. From here, we're going to be in the MLS. Now, we can access InfoSparks in several ways. One, from being in the MLS, we can be here on our home page, and under our external links widget, and I'm going to highlight this here, under the external links widget right here on your home page, if you happen to have it up, you're going to look for InfoSparks Market Statistics. Okay, that's one way of accessing it. The other way of accessing InfoSparks is through your Links tab in the MLS. If we click on the Links tab in the MLS, we're going to display all of our third-party member benefits offered to us by CRMLS. We're going to scroll down on our list until we see where it says InfoSparks. When we click on the icon of InfoSparks, we are now taken to the InfoSparks database. Now, right away, we're going to see some information. Okay. First thing that we're going to see is that we're going to look at the entire MLS under all property types, attached and detached, all sides, all bedrooms, bathrooms, all price ranges, everything in our MLS database. Now, from down below here, we get to see that in the month of June of 2020, the median sales price of properties was at $580, up 2.7% compared to a year ago. So right away, we get to see June's numbers for the median sales price. Now, I know everybody has immediately said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know for sure that the median sales price is not 580. Now remember, we're looking at the entire MLS database. Our MLS database does not center around just Orange County alone. We have LA County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, San Diego County, Northern California counties. We have close to, I think it's 36 different MLSs sharing their database with us. Okay, more than 200,000 plus listings in our MLS database right now. So we need to narrow this down. Okay, now how we're going to narrow this information down? Well, first we're going to say, instead of the entire MLS database, we're going to click on this little tab, the arrow at the first tab. From here, we can look at information by city, by county, by zip code, by MLS area, even by agents and their offices, or my areas. Now, we'll talk about my areas in a second or in a few minutes, but basically what my areas are mapped out locations that you have centered around. This is great for you looking at neighborhood statistics, okay? But say we want to look by county. I can select county, and now back at the top, while my cursor is blinking, I'm now going to say type in Orange and select Orange County. Now all of a sudden we see under all property types attached and detached that the median sales price in Orange County is at $759,900, up 4.2% compared to a year ago. Now, again, we're taking into account all properties attached and detached. So that means condos attached, single family attached, detached, right? So we want to look at, maybe in my market, I like to specialize in detached homes. So now what I can do is come down to one of my filters, in this case the attached, detached, and click on the detached choice. Now my chart updates automatically to show me that the median sales price for detached properties in Orange County is at $874,450, up 3% compared to a year ago. Now, real quickly, we can hover over top of this line graph, and I can see my June numbers. But as I move along the line graph, I get to see what the previous month was. So right away, we get to see that we're up 3% compared to June of 2019, which was at 849. But just in a month alone, we've gone from 834,550 in the month of May to 874,450 in the month of June. So in just 1 month alone, we've started back up on an increase. And again, we can go back. We can see that in the beginning of the year, we were at 860. So even the beginning of the year, we're up, 14,000 compared to just 6 months ago? Even back in June of, let's go back June of 2018. We were at 840. And then, of course, all the way back to June of 2015, when median sales prices for detached properties in Orange County was at 717. So remember that trend is your friend? And I know most everybody attending today probably had somebody that bought a property 5 years ago, right? So now what we could do is talk to our past clients and say, if you bought your home 5 years ago, you probably have a very significant amount of equity in your home. So if you were thinking about needing to sell, let's talk. Because if you bought your home for $717 last year, just know that prices today are up to $874. Now, we're just looking at county numbers. What happens if I want to look at a city? I can do the same, come back over to the one and choose, instead of county, city, and type in a city. So maybe I want to look at, I don't know, Mission Viejo. You can type in Mission Viejo, select the city, and we see here the detached properties in Mission Viejo are at 785. Now, what happens if I market several cities, right? I have my for sale signs up in several different cities. I want to talk about how cities compare to each other. Well, we can do that too. So you'll notice that next to the first tab here, where I have Mission Viejo, there's another place that I can add in another tab. I can now click on Add an Area, and now type in maybe another city that I want to compare to, like, oh, I don't know, Lake Forest, right? So here we select Lake Forest, and now I've got a side-by-side comparison of Lake Forest to Mission Viejo. Looks like Lake Forest actually has a higher price value than Mission Viejo. But we see here that in Lake Forest, their median price dropped 2.8%, whereas Mission Viejo has increased 6.7% from a year ago. So now we can have a talking point. Even though your homes are a little bit more expensive in Lake Forest, they are on a decrease compared to homes in Mission Viejo, which even though the price points are lower and more affordable. Anybody like that so far? Now, by the way, we can compare up to 4 different charts side by side. And we don't have to go city to city. We can even go by MLS areas. So like Mission Viejo, I want to now show how different areas compare. So Mission Viejo, oh, I don't know, what is it? Central. And Mission Viejo South. I can have up to 4 areas side by side. So maybe I have in this case Central, South, and North compared to the actual city of their detached market. So we see here that Mission Viejo South is at 817, up almost 8%, whereas the entire city of Mission Viejo is up almost 7% at 785. Mission Viejo Central is at 785, up 8.3% compared to a year ago, and Mission Viejo North has dropped 1.1% to 731. So again, we can talk about these different numbers by just applying our different filters. So we can compare cities to cities, city to its areas, or city to counties. Anybody like that so far? Are there any questions on this? No questions? I'm a little surprised. You guys are going to make it easy on me, aren't you? All right. So let's have a little extra fun. So let's take out those other areas. And now maybe I want to compare certain things within Mission Viejo, like how different bedrooms of homes compare. So what I can do, instead of selecting each and every individual one under this number of bedrooms filter, I'm now going to click on this 2-way arrow to now automatically select everything in this column. And now InfoSparks will now pull up the numbers for detached properties in Mission Viejo under the different bedroom types. Now we see here there are no 1-bedroom detached properties in Mission Viejo, so we can deselect that. And we can have our 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4 or more, along with all the others, or all bedrooms lumped together. And we can see how these numbers now look. Oh, we got a question here. Let's see here. How do you enter different cities, and what is the tab? So Don, what you want to do is at the very top, where it may say entire MLS, click in it to get your cursor to blink. Then, as an example, type in the name of the city. And then select city. That way it narrows down your choices. And then once you see the city appear, click on it to have it selected. So again, we'll take out that choice. Let's see here, all. So we have the entire MLS. We click on the down arrow. We're going to select city. Then we're going to come back over here where it says entire MLS while our cursor is blinking, and we're going to type Mission Viejo. When I do that, I see that Mission Viejo is found in my list. I'm going to click on it, and it's now selected. Excuse me 1 second. I have a dog that's whining at my door. And I'll get to your question there. Zeta. Okay. So Zeta asks, can we do a comparison of Laguna Niguel detached 4+ bedroom, bath, 3,000 square feet, and Laguna Niguel attached 3,000? I think you can. So here, let's try it. So you wanted Laguna Niguel, the city. You wanted 3 bedrooms. And then we can come over here to one of your filters, and I do believe we've got square footage, 3,000. And then what was the other part? Bathrooms, 3 or more. Now you'll notice here that we've got some really specific numbers, but down below here, there have been no properties in Laguna Niguel at this point. There are more than 3,000 square feet. June, you had one at 1.180, which is, oh, I don't know. Let's see here. June of, yeah, that looks like that number is really, yeah, because you're not getting a month to month. But you could do something like that. Now, if you're talking about a specific house, doesn't look like there's a lot of activity in Laguna Niguel for 3 or more bedrooms at 3,000 or more square feet. You probably compare it to the different bedroom types or square footages that are 3 or more bedrooms, or that are 3 bedrooms. So we see here between 1,000 and 1,900 square feet that are 3 bedrooms, 777, 3,000 square feet or more at 1.8 or 1.18, and then 2,000 square feet to 2,900 square feet, 3 or more bedrooms at 1.5, up 60% compared to a year ago. Basically doing the same comparison within the same city, but with 2 different criterias. Yeah, then those would be 2 different charts that you're going to make. But you could select the 4 or more, and now you've got your charts that are dive down a little bit more. But I think if you're trying to show the different bedrooms, here's the 3, and then deselect the 3, and then select the 4. That might help you a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how you can utilize these charts by the share button, basically making printouts or posting to your website. So it can only be same criteria but of different cities? No. If you notice, I haven't changed the city. It's still in Laguna Niguel because you wanted Laguna Niguel. So I left the city alone. All I'm changing is the filter for number of bedrooms between 3 and 4. It won't show more than the 2. When I select them this way, we're going to see that because I have 2 different filters going on, that it merges the 3 and 4 bedrooms together in this case. So if you wanted to know the differences between the 4 bedrooms and up versus the 3, which why would you want to know the 3 and up if you know the 4 and up? You might as well just do the 3 bedroom first and then the 4 and up, because you want to know the difference between 3 bedroom properties and 4 bedroom properties, essentially. Does that make sense, Azita? Okay, good. So in this case, you're going to have one set of charts for the 3 bedrooms, selecting it with your square footage. And again, if you didn't select that, that's okay. And then you could do your 4 bedrooms with that same square footage. So we see here the 4 or more bedrooms are 1.2, down 14%, whereas the 3 bedrooms are at 1.8, which looks to be up from a year prior. And actually, it's only got the all bedrooms here. Let's take that one out. There we go. So between March and November, there wasn't a 3 bedroom to pull its inventory from. So 1.8, and then going back to March at 875, that's a huge increase. How do we set up this graph to send to a client? We'll get there, Azita, I promise. Now, by the way, we're just looking at the median sales price, by the way, folks. We haven't even looked at everything else. So down below, okay, we're going to take these numbers out. So down below, we're looking at the median sales price. Down below here, we can also look at new listings coming on the market. So in this case, Laguna Niguel, 59 listings have come on the market, which is a drop from new listing inventory by 22% compared to a year prior, but it's way up since April. So again, we can hover over top of the month and see what those prior months were. So if we come down to June, we were at 76 properties in Laguna Niguel coming on the market. So it's quite a significant amount. And as we all know, if there's not a lot of people listing, what's that going to do? Help increase your price. Why? Because there's not a lot of inventory. If we look at all active listings in the MLS, or in this case, active listings in Laguna Niguel, there are 107 properties actively marketed in Laguna Niguel in June, which is a drop of 50% compared to the year prior. The year prior, you were at 217 properties actively on the market. This year, you're at 107. So if a buyer asks you, do we have a lot of inventory to choose from? No, we don't. Right? Can we customize our own criteria? What do you mean by customize your own criteria, Azita? Put in 3,800 square feet? You could. You can come over to where it says square footage and click on custom, and then you can customize your numbers. So if you went 3,800 on up, and you hit done, you can now select that choice instead. So in this case, in Laguna Niguel, that properties for 3,800 square feet, or that are 3,800 square feet or more, there are only 29 properties currently active on the market, or were active in the month of June. Which is even compared to May, up from April, but way down compared to a year ago. So the idea is active inventory has gone down. Closed sales, we can look at our closed sales numbers, the volume, how much money, days on market. I know somebody had asked about that. So in Laguna Niguel, 22 days on the market, which is up 10% compared to a year ago, but way up compared to April. If we look here in April, people were selling their properties within 7 days or getting into escrow within 7 days. Whereas in January, it was at 75 days. So we're way down from 6 months ago. And then in June, they were selling properties within 20 days versus 22. So a slight increase compared to a year ago, but not that big of a difference. Gary asked, if I wanted to report based on a past date, how would I design that search? That's a specific search in the MLS that you're looking for in your searches, not here. This is for a generic overall inventory statistics. If you're looking for certain dates, like when things sold and things like that, then you're going to go back into the matrix system and you're going to pull up a specific search. And we can talk about that a little bit more after class, Gary, if you would like. There are two statistics that I would like to point out here. Down below here, percent of last list price and percent of original list price. So what these two stats are basically how much did the homeowner get for their property, right? Based on their price. Now, percentage of original price being received is at the time that the property was listed, how much of their original asking price did they get at time of closing, okay? So as an example, if the homeowner listed the home for $1 million, but at the end of escrow, they only got $800,000, how much of their original asking price did they get? Whereas the percentage of last list price did they receive, how much of their list price at the time that they closed escrow did they get? So in that $1 million property, as it was being marketed, we ended up dropping the price to say $860,000. Then we ended up closing escrow for $800,000. How much of my list price did I get at that point? Right? So these are two really good stats to get people to understand how much of their asking price are they going to be getting, and of course, helping buyers understand how much of the seller's asking price are they getting. So as an example, here in Laguna Niguel, for detached properties, homeowners are getting 98.3% of their original asking price. So not taking into account any price changes. Okay? So that tells me that number one, if I'm listing your home, just know that we might need to drop the price about 1 or 2% before you get what you're asking. Okay? Now, what's the difference between closed sales and closed sale volume? Closed sale is how many closed sales you did, like number wise, like 100. Whereas closed sales volume is taking that 100 and adding up all their dollar amounts, Raymond. So we'll just show you here real quick. Closed sales volume, 46 homes sold in June, whereas the closed sales volume was $105 million and $105 million, right? That's the closed sales volume. Now here the original list price being received, the percentage, 98.3%. So seller, just know that you might need to drop your home price a little bit before, under the last list price, you get close to 99% of what you're asking for. Now, this is great for the buyer as well, because I know we all have buyers who, for some reason, want to really lowball their offers, right? Here, we can use this chart and say, this is why your offer is not being accepted or even countered. Probably not even being looked at because you're offering too little. Homeowners are getting about 98% of what they're asking for, right, in Laguna Niguel. So that means that your offer has to be way higher than what you're offering. So if the home is listed at $989 and you're offering $780, this is probably why they're not accepting your offer or even entertaining it. You need to start upping your offers way closer to the list price before you're even accepted or even countered. So in a way, we can use these two stats to help educate our sellers and our buyers with pricing, right? What's the difference between closed sale? Oh, we already asked that. Okay, good. All right. Now, one other nice thing, when we go to share this out. Now, by the way, we're looking at monthly, right? So we see these sharp peaks and valleys. Now, if we were to share this out, wouldn't this freak out a lot of people, right? It almost looks like a heart monitor thing, right? Right? You get hooked up to the heart monitors and then you see the little ticker tape and you see the ups and downs and stuff. And a lot of people tend to freak out when things are too high or too low or this erratic up and down. Well, we're going to smooth out these lines. Now, how we smooth out the lines, we're going to come over here underneath the filters and just above the chart, off to the right, we see that we're looking at a month-to-month difference. Now, if we click on the down arrow here next to this monthly, we can now do a rolling 3-month, rolling 6, or rolling 12. And what this does is it begins to smooth out the lines. So, as an example, if I go rolling 3, instead of seeing the super sharp peaks or the super sharp valleys, we now get to see that it starts to roll a little bit smoother, right? Because we're now comparing June, May, April, May, April, March, April, March, February timeframes. Whereas if we did the 6 months, June to January, right? May to December. So now all of a sudden we've really smoothed out the lines. And then of course we do the 12 months. So now all of a sudden we've really smoothed out these ups and down valleys. Now, by the way, we're also looking at 5 years. You don't have to go back all 5 years. You can just show a year-to-year difference or a 3-year difference. Now, when it comes to sharing things or posting things, I personally don't necessarily like line graphs so much. Click on the down arrow next to line and make it a bar graph. Now, the bar graph automatically puts you into a 3-year comparison of whatever chart you're looking at. So what I like about this is that it tells you June of 2020 compared to June of 2019 compared to June of 2018. So right away we get to see our numbers going up or down in a nice little bar graph. Yep, I like the bar graph better, Azita, especially if we're applying multiple filters like not bathrooms, bedrooms. So now if we compared all those, we now get to compare the 4, the 3, and the 2 each and every year and their pluses or minuses. So what I like about this is that as like a 3-bedroom in Laguna Niguel, you were looking at $894, but it dropped slightly, almost 10% in 2019, but now it's way up in 2020. So yes, up more than 200,000, even compared to 2 years ago. Here in the 4 or more bedroom, it was at 1.2, then it went to 1.3, back down to 1.2. So you've had a slight ups and down, but almost exact the same from 2 years ago. Can you pull up the distressed property graph on here as well? Azita, no, you can't. And I can tell you that there's not really that many distressed properties in our MLS database. There are some, but it's whatever the property type is. And they don't have like the financing, like distressed, like notice of default, short sale, anything like that. That's a little different. And I can tell you overall, I think the distressed market, like short sale and notice of default, makes up less than 5% in our MLS database currently. If it was like back it was in 2007, 2008, there might be a need for that, but for right now, because there's so few, they don't have one. How many live shares can you? Oh, we'll go through that. So now say we get the bar graph here. Now we need to get this information out. This is where the share button comes in. Okay. So right away, we can share this to our social media, email, or as a PDF, the static report. From here, when we click on share, it generates a URL, but all we need to do is click on view in a new window, and we pull up what the chart looks like. Now, what we can do with this is now print it, download it, save it. But you'll notice right away, we've got the bar graphs, we've got our information. The information that's automatically branded here is pulled from the MLS database, okay? So make sure that your roster information in the MLS is up to date. Add a photo of yourself, make sure your cell number, your phone numbers, your email addresses are all up to date. And oops, I forgot I needed to modify my email address because I went over a class on how to modify that. So we got that there. Okay. Now, that's the static report. So we can use it in our mailers, we can print it out, we can download it, we can modify it, shrink it, put it onto other reports, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Now, the other way that we can do this is for those of you who are who have websites, you can embed a link into your website. Now, right now I have a static embeddable link that when I hit share, all I need to do is copy this link and paste it onto my website. This will now paste whatever chart, graph, for whatever region I've generated. Now, because it's static, this means that I now need to go in every month, take out the old one, and upload a new one. Now, how many of you actually want to upload a brand new chart on your website? And you can raise your hands. Right? Can I make changes? Don, you can make changes to your header, but only through the roster. So the roster under Add Edit in the MLS database is where you're going to update your contact information. That's the only other way to do it. Okay. All right. So here, I know everybody does not want to keep updating charts on their website. Good. Don't. What you want to do is create an embedded live link for your website. So the numbers that we see today are June numbers that we embed on our website. Then come August, it will automatically update with the July numbers. Now, to answer Ronald's question, you can make as many live embedded charts onto your website as you want. So maybe you have a chart that compares, instead of the bedrooms together, you compare the different cities. Right? All the cities that you market. Okay. So you got a one of your web pages, or one of your pages on your website is how do city types compare? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have one for the median sales price, maybe active listing inventory, days on market, percentage of list price being received in those various different cities. Then I can make another tab on my website for the individual city information. Now, the way I like to think about this, because I've seen agents' websites, right smack dab in the middle of the website, or at least on the pages, as an example, we've got find properties, and there they've got individual tabs, Laguna Niguel. In Laguna Niguel, they've got the featured properties based on the IDX feed, but then the left and right are all blank. It's just empty air or empty space. Well, what I can now do is talk to my web designer, send them these various different links, and now when they're looking at Laguna Niguel's section on my website, not only are they looking at the featured properties in the middle, but to the left and to the right of those properties are going to be the various different charts pertaining to Laguna Niguel, like median price, active inventory, closed sales, percentage of price and receipt, whatever I want. And that's going to be live updated charts each and every month. So ideally, when someone now goes to my website, not only does my website not just have property information like every other agent's website does, but now I'm going to have other information pertinent to that inventory market that's going on, right? More information. So again, remember, we're going to be the market experts. We're also going to be educators. So when they go to that section of our page and they look at these charts, we are now giving them not just properties, but we're giving them information to help them decide or see what's going on in the market compared to a year ago or 3 years ago in certain cases, right? And then they go to another page for another city or another location. Okay. Now, Sophie asks, when I forward the line chart to the client, how do I insert the data point on the chart? You can't. Unless you use a PDF editor where you want to point out like a certain month compared to this month, the line graph itself, and if we were to share this as a static PDF, it shows the line graph. And if you'll notice on the PDF file, it kind of goes over those numbers individually for the month, but really that's what you're looking at in a line graph, right? In this case, I've chose the percentage of last list price. Here, let's do median sales price. And we'll get rid of these. No, we'll leave those. Share, static, social media, view. If you were to print this out, this is what it would look like. So a lot of people would see where the top part of the line is, but they're not going to see these individual numbers unless it was electronic. Okay. This is where I like, if you're handing something out to somebody, make it a bar graph, because the bar graph gives you the numbers at the top. Okay. So when we do that share, we see the individual numbers for the individual color-coded cities for that month compared to the same month of a year prior. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. If we wanted to link and send to a client visual data, we go to the static social media email. Yep. And then you take the email link and you can copy it and paste it in an email, Azita, or open it up like I did and then download it as a PDF file. That way you can make it as an attachment in your email. Frida asks, I want the client to have the capability to look themselves using the link. Is that possible? No, that's not possible. What you then probably want to do, Frida, is put the link on your website and then tell them to go to that part of the website to look at this information, which you want them to go to your website anyway, right? Not only do they go to your website to look at properties, but now you have them go to your website for all the updated information of what's going on in the market that's pertinent to them, right? Does that make sense? As much as you want to send them a live link, that's great, but that email is high in their list today, but come tomorrow, it's 1,000 emails deep. Is anybody ever going to go back 1,000 emails to find the one email that you're going to send to them? No. You're probably going to email them a static chart each and every month if you want them to be kept up on the market, or you have it printed out. If we want it on our webpage, we go to live embed. That's correct, Azita. So if you want this chart embedded in your website, you select live, embed, then hit share, and then you take the link that you see here, the code, and then you can copy it and then go to your website if you're the web designer and paste it, or go to your email, create an email to your web provider and put that link in it and tell them where you want it to go. I want this link to go on the Laguna Niguel page off to the left-hand side. And then, by the way, here are the other different links of the other various charts for this page, and have them modify that for you. Or if you're good at that, you do that yourself. How do I use the CSV? The CSV static data, just download CSV file, and if you have Excel, you'll notice that the Excel spreadsheet opens up. And then now it clumps all this data together. It's not very pretty, but you put it in a chart. From here, there are no line graphs or anything like that. You could probably put it into your own graphic under the not page layout, but insert a chart or a table, or I'm sorry, insert a graph, and then insert your own graphs. There we go. Insert a graph and then copy these numbers into that graph. But then why do that? Just have the system make your own charts and graphs for you. If you wanted something other than a line graph or a bar graph, then the CSV file would allow you to make a pie chart, a line graph, or other graphs that Excel has to offer. Does that make sense? Now, I know we're over by 7 minutes, but do you guys have time for 2 more things real quick? All right, the next thing I want to show you real quickly here is the FastStats, okay? Or actually, before we go to the FastStats, my areas. My areas are basically the areas that you define to pull statistical data for. So as an example, maybe there's a neighborhood I want to give statistical information on. I'm going to need to define what that neighborhood is, because if you notice that we can't drill down to neighborhood tracks, okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my areas. I'm going to jump to a location. In this case, I don't know, let's go with Irvine, California. Irvine, California comes up on a map. We're just going to zoom in. And we're going to zoom in on our neighborhood. Now, typically when we have our neighborhood, we know pretty much where our boundaries are for that neighborhood, okay? Say my track is this entire area here between Yale and Culver. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to use my either polygon or circle to outline that area. In this case, the polygon. Click on it, find my starting corner, click, click all the way around my neighborhood. Now I'm going to save it. When I hit save, I'm now going to create a new area. So like maybe this was the Burbank track. Okay. Or what's the name of a good area? Oh, I don't know. Let's call it Seabridge Homes track. Okay. Now I'm going to save it. Now what it's going to do, it's going to analyze my outline. It's going to tell me there are 834 listings that have been found in a 0.3 miles square or square miles area. Now I'm going to close it. So now when I come back into InfoSparks and I want to pull up my neighborhood statistics, I'm going to come over here to where it says entire MLS, click on the down arrow, and now I'm going to select my areas. When I select my areas, this now brings up all my created MLS areas, or my areas that I created. I click on it, and it now pulls up my numbers. So in this case, the median sales price for my neighborhood is $9.98, up 21%, right? Just like with the closed sales and the active inventory, right? So what I can now do is when I market to my neighborhood that I'm marketing, I can include these charts and graphs in my share, printed reports, part of my website, what have you, for my community to understand what's happening in their market. How many areas can you have? Roland, you can have as many areas as you want. You're not limited. Not limited to the amount of areas. This is where naming them uniquely is going to help you. But understand, because you're getting really specific, that if there was no new listings or no listings at all last year, and there's one this year, then your chart's not going to give you too many accurate things, right? It's not going to give you price change or median sales price differential. Like if there were no sales last year, but there was one this year, it's not going to say, well, it's going to say the one this year, then the percentage will say 100% increase, right? Because last year there was 0. So just got to be careful about that. But at least you could do that. Does that help? Hopefully. All right, good. All right, so that's the my areas. The next, the FastStats. So now instead of necessarily creating all these individual charts for the one specific stat, maybe we want to look at things as a whole. This is where the FastStats choice comes in. Now the FastStats choice will look at things first by county, and then we can look at the market report, which is the 15-page report to show trends. Now, real quickly, when we go to FastStats, it asks us what region of California we want. So in a way, we can look at some statistical data, North, Central, Mid-Southern, and Southern California. Now, just out of curiosity, we're Southern California, right? Now, this is what I find very funny about Orange County. Remember how I was saying Orange County is the microclimate and the start of the real estate world, right? Because everything that happens here first before it happens everywhere else, right? Look how big Orange County is compared to all the other surrounding counties in Southern California. San Bernardino is, 5 times the size of Orange County, but yet we are the mecca of the real estate industry, right? Same thing with Santa Barbara area, San Luis Obispo. We are a pretty big deal. So here as an example, I'm going to select Orange County, and now I'm just going to come down below, and I see this lovely one-page report. So if you wanted something quick, down and dirty that you can modify, and what I mean by that is take this, download it as a PDF, and then use one of several ways to modify a PDF to brand it with your own branding, right? You can cut out charts, you can add things in, you can turn it into a picture file, use PowerPoint or whatever to modify this. But real quickly, we can see here that single family versus condos, median sales price in June, $859. Median sales price of a condo, attached and detached, $539, up 8.9%, up 3.5% compared to a year ago. But we get to see all these numbers right out of the gate. Now, real quickly, we see here month supply of inventory as a single family is at 2.9 versus 4.0. So are we in a buyer's market, seller's market, or a balanced market? Anybody remember? So based on what we were discussing before in Orange County, the 3 to 4 or between 3 and 4, are we currently in a seller's or buyer's or a balanced market? You're right. That's right, Raymond, Don. We are in a seller's market. As a matter of fact, a slight seller's market. Now, by the way, I will tell you that this chart takes single family and has single family attached and detached. That's why that number is a little bit lower. It doesn't separate the attached versus the detached. Okay. But you're right. Below 3 months, we're in a slight seller's market compared to last year when we were bordering on that 4-month mark. So we were kind of balanced, headed towards a buyer's, right? Here for the town and condos, 2.8 months compared to 3.6. So we went from a balanced market to a slightly seller's market again because of our inventory, right? We dropped in our inventory numbers. That amazes me. So we can look at that one line chart. Now, besides the one line chart, we can also look at the monthly indicator report. Now, the monthly indicator report takes that one-page document you just saw and digests every stat into a lovely 15-page report. So remember how I was saying earlier, the trend is your friend? This is the way to get to it. So we're going to click on the monthly indicator report here. We're going to scroll down to the Orange County. Now this will open up the 15-page report. Here gives you a national analysis of what's been happening in the market, along with the local county. We get to see that Orange County median detached properties increased 3.1%. Attached properties increased 9.0%. Both property types combined, 3.7% combined. We come down below, we now get to see the individual detached numbers for new listings, pending sales, closed, so on and so forth. Here we get to see June of this year compared to June of last year numbers. We also get to see the rolling 12 months. So 12 months from June, 12 months from June, and their individual numbers for each individual stat. We also get to see a 3-year market trend. So June to June of 2017, and we get to see the ups and downs of the market. Now, we also see this on the attached side. Then by page 3 or 4, we're now diving into the individual stats. Now, what I like about this are the charts. So we get to see here a line graph of 2020 going all the way back to 2003 and the ups and downs. Here, new listings, January to December, January to December, January to December. Now, what looks familiar here? Every year we begin really low, then by mid-year we go high, then we go drop down by the end of the year, right? So we see here our peaks and our valleys throughout the year. This is a really great opportunity for you to sit down with a seller to go over when's a good time to list your home, right? Typically, do we want to list your home at the peak when everybody else is, or do we want to take advantage of the market when you don't have as much inventory or enough new listings coming on the market that you might be able to get away? Now, this year in 2020, you'll notice that we started going up, then we dropped, then all of a sudden we've gone back up again, and now we're looking like we go a little even, but we're still way below what we were a year ago. Okay. One chart that I love always talking about when people talk about pricing, our median sales price, right? We see here that in 2020, we're over 800,000, right? And a lot of people go, well, we might be having a bubble pop, da-da-da-da. We can look at this and see, right? If we look here at 2003, we had median market for the detached a little over $440,000. Then by 2007, 2008, we were at 750. Then we had the bubble crash, right? Or the crash of the market, which, by the way, a lot of the experts had said 2012 was the bottom of the market. True for everybody else in the country, but in Orange County, it was 2009. Our bottom end hit at 2009 for the detached inventory. But if you notice here, the 2009 compared to 2003, the bottom didn't go below the previous bottom. So in a way, we can talk about no matter what, homes do appreciate. Then all of a sudden throughout the years, we've gone up, 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 up. And if we look right now in 2020, we are still way above the last peak, right? At one point, we were, one point of last year, we were almost at the $900,000 mark. We're kind of close to that still. So even back, if you bought your home in 2007, know that you've gotten appreciation from that home. Now, a lot of people are still freaked out. Hey, does this mean that we're going to go through another bubble pop? Well, let's show you how stats compare. Do we have any charts on financing? No, Don. We don't deal with financing. Remember, this is strictly MLS data. So what homes are being listed at, what they're closing for, things like that. We don't take into financing into account, right? That's something that's totally different. You might need to talk to your lender about getting those types of charts. That would be great to see, like loans, like a value of a loan or the percentage of loans back in 2007 was what, 8-9%? And this year it's what, under 3, which is miraculous in some cases. So if people are hemming and hawing about the price of the home, just say, look at what your interest rates are when you get a loan today compared to the price that was still there at 8%. You're still saving a ton of money on interest, right? But here, we've got the home median sales price at $874,000, as we saw earlier. But now we look at the inventory. And inventory says something vastly different. Look at our inventory today compared to what it was back at the previous peak. So in 2003, we had just about 4,000 properties on on the market for sale at about 440,000. Then by 2007, 2008, we had more than 12,000 properties on the market, which by then the bubble popped, right? To look at where we're at today, we're just over 4,000. But our median prices are over 8. So in a way, what we look at here and what we can have talking points on is that our inventory is what's keeping that home price so high. I would say if we all of a sudden started to see our numbers go above 6 and 7 and 8, we might need to worry about, well, the home prices could start to drop because you've got more and more inventory, more and more choices to choose from. But until that starts going up, it's what's driving our prices right now. There's a lack of inventory, a lack of choice, right? And interest rates being so good right now, of course, people are buying left and right, which is what's keeping the inventory down too. Not enough sellers listing the properties. The buyers are buying up the existing inventory, which now just causes that need to go higher and higher. Okay. Anybody like this? Are there any questions on anything that we've gone over today? Again, I apologize for going a little over. We are again recording today's webinar. Everybody will get a copy of today's webinar. Thank you very much, Azita. Thanks, Ron. You guys will get a copy of this. If you want, I can also send you the copy of the presentation as well. The presentation does go over how to convert the PDF file into, say, a picture file that you can modify for your different marketing materials if you choose. Oh, you're welcome, Don. My next class is going to be on REALA, how to create property websites. So when you get a listing, how to make a property website that will help you market that property to be able to capture leads directly for free, depending on how many websites you want to create. Oh, you're welcome very much, Frida. Well, I want to thank everybody for today's meeting. Hopefully I'll get to see you for this afternoon's class at 1:30, I do believe. So about 30, 40 minutes. So with that said, I want to thank everybody. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. I can be reached at either 949-586-6800, extension 104, or you can email me at Tony, Tony, at ocrealtors.org. With that said, I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day. Promise me your to-do list is that within a month, you at least try some of the charts, because I want to hear back from you as to how well it's going for you, whether you're putting it on your website, and I want to see if you happen to see a noticeable difference. Okay. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day. Have a great and wonderful week, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye-bye. Funny, Don. Yes, it is of the same guy. It is of me. Just probably not as much gray as I have right now. All right. Have a great day, you guys. Bye-bye.